Series 4. Exploring the Dungeonverse. Chapter 1. Adventurers from all over the Hyperverse can enter the Dungeonverse if they are able to fulfill the tough requirements. They need to collect a Dungeonverse key, have expertise on at least one combat class, and of course be able to arrive at one of the Dungeonverse entrances. It's not an easy task to fulfill these prerequisites, but the adventurers come in anyway because of the rewards they can collect if they perform well. A successful Dungeonverse run can grant at a minimum one miracle, capable of reviving the dead, increase their power tenfold, or allow them to visit higher planes. Also, there is relatively low risk because if they die in it, they are just teleported back to their home planet. Adventurers that enter the Dungeonverse are called Seekers, and they need to have high-level expertise in one of the following classes: Knight, Berserker or Martial Artist, Beast Master, Projectile Shooter, Bard or Cook, Cleric, and Spellcaster. A group can either go in together, or they can go individually, and the Dungeonverse assigns a party containing each one of these classes, and the only thing they would have in common is the universe they come from. Today, we observe a Seeker groups which was randomly selected, as they all entered solo and were matched automatically. This group is from the 14th multiverse and it's composed of Grego in the Knight spot. He is a dwarf. Despite their size, dwarfs are stronger than regular-sized humanoids, and faster too. Grego is a royal knight from the kingdom of Monteros. In the Berserker role we have Yagu, a barbarian were-rat able to transform into a massive rat man. Next is Lucia, a human Amazon warrior. And Yamirio, a young male dragon. They take the spot of the Beastmaster role, specifically in the form of a rider. For the shooter spot we have Chemo, a human from a high-tech planet. He expertly combines both magical techniques and high-tech weaponry. The Bard or Cook spot is taken by Socratia, a philosopher and historian bard. She is a veteran of the Dungeonverse. As a good philosopher, she suspects the Dungeonverse allows seekers to find far more than riches, power, and wishes, and she is here to learn its secrets. The Cleric spot is taken by Laria, a cleric of the love god, Yun, of the 14th multiverse. And the Spellcaster spot is taken by Goldra, a powerful Lich who specializes in necromancy. His past is convoluted, but he is not originally from the 14th multiverse, although he currently resides there. Boss Fight. Criterios of the Green Flame. After entering the first level of the Dungeonverse, the Seekers were shocked that their very first enemy was a boss fight. They quickly assumed position though. The close combat fighters went to the front line, cavalry and shooter mid-range, and the support members stayed in the back. Yagu quickly turned into his were-rat form. Laria, the cleric, noticed they were dealing with an undead, so she started a ritual that makes all her teammates more resistant against undead spells. Socratia, the bard, started reciting a poem by the god of combat, Mars himself, which boosts the physical attacks of all the party times 2, and Goldra readied himself to cast a secret necrotic spell that can deal damage to other undead, and also freezes them from the inside out. Criterios noticed the dangerous support seekers in the back and teleported past the front and mid-range fighters, and quickly slashed Laria the cleric. Goldra took this opportunity to strike mercilessly with his frozen cadaver spell, which hit Criterios square in his stomach, but Laria was impacted by this attack as well. Although, since she isn't an undead, she didn't really suffer much from it. Despite being fully armored, Grego the Dwarf Knight was incredibly fast, and he managed to jump on the weakened Criterios and dealt a powerful blow in his neck with his magical sword. The cut was deep and Criterios teleported away. The battle was over, but our party knows they haven't finished him yet. They must proceed their way through the Dungeonverse. Meanwhile they need to tend to Laria's wounds and determine whether Goldra's harsh approach is something they can tolerate. The Seekers are not aware of this yet, but Criterios is a poison-based warrior and the whole party has been close enough to have been infected. That's it for Chapter 1. More to come, and remember, keep seeking.